Hello, welcome. My name is Les Bridgman. I'm going through the Bible chapter by chapter, and I'm currently in the book of Genesis, chapter 9, verses 18 to 29. This is a crazy story. In this story, Noah gets drunk, is found naked by one of his sons, then curses his grandson. So we have the themes of drunk, nakedness, and cursing in this story. Let me give you the expanded summary. Then I'll give you some minor points, and then we'll get to the main points. The expanded summary is this. Noah was a man of the soil. That's what the text calls him in chapter 9, meaning he was a farmer. He planted a vineyard, then drank some of his vineyard's wine and became drunk. In his drunken state, he lay uncovered inside his tent. His son Ham. Now, Noah had 3 sons. These 3 sons and their wives were with him on the ark for 1 year. And those sons were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Noah's son Ham found him naked in his drunken state. And he went outside and told his 2 brothers. But Shem and Japheth took a garment and laid it across their shoulders, and then they walked in backwards so that they would not see their father's nakedness. They also turned their heads to make sure that they wouldn't see their father. When Noah became sober, he learned what Ham had done, and he cursed Ham's son, Canaan. Ham had 4 sons. Canaan was his youngest son. So not all of Ham's sons are cursed, just the youngest, and that is Canaan. Noah said, "Cursed be Canaan. The lowest of slaves will he be to his brothers." Then Noah praised the God of Shem and said, "May Canaan be the slave of Shem." He also said, "May God extend Japheth's territory. May Japheth live in the tents of Shem, and may Canaan be the slave of Japheth." Then the text says that Noah lived 350 years after the flood, and he died when he was 950 years old. Let's talk about some minor points. Number 1, how long after the flood did this story occur? The text doesn't tell us, but since it usually takes about 3 years to grow grapes to maturity, this story probably occurred at least 3 years after the flood ended. Number 2, did Noah get drunk often? We don't know. We are not told if this was the first time or the 100th time. Some translations say Noah was the first to plant a vineyard. So perhaps viticulture started with Noah. But that's about all we can say about how many times Noah got drunk. We really don't know. Number 3, is drinking alcohol a sin? The Bible says, "Do not get drunk on wine," Ephesians 5:18. It also says, "Do not join those who drink too much wine," Proverbs 23:20. But it doesn't say don't drink wine. We know that Jesus turned water into wine in John chapter 2. So drinking wine by itself is not a sin, but drinking too much wine is a sin. Number 4, what else did Noah do during his 350 years after the flood? It doesn't say. Essentially, Genesis gives us 2 stories about Noah: the flood story and the drunk and naked story. In the first story, Noah is the hero who saves humanity with God's help. In the second story, Noah is the drunk dad who loses control of himself. So it's very interesting. We have 2 stories about this guy, 2 main stories in the Bible. He's the hero in one, and he's kind of like the loser dad in the other. So there's quite a contrast between these 2 stories. Okay, now to the main points. Number 1, Noah lived a normal life after the flood. He worked the ground as Adam had done. He was a farmer. Number 2, Noah was not perfect. Until this point in Genesis, we have only heard good things about Noah. Noah was a righteous man, blameless among the people of his time, and he walked faithfully with God. Genesis 6:9. And he did all that the Lord commanded him, Genesis 7:5. So up until this point, Noah's been a perfect example. But now we see a different side of him. Number 3, Ham did something egregious. Many scholars have suggested that Ham must have done something more than merely see his father naked. It just seems like an outrageous outburst that Noah gives, and it seems like there was something more happening than just Ham seeing him naked. Some think the word told in this context carries a mocking connotation. Remember that Ham went out and told his 2 brothers about the father being naked. So some speculate, well, maybe he was mocking his dad when he went out and told his 2 brothers. Others have speculated that Ham did something of a sexual nature to his father. Rashi, a medieval rabbi who lived about 1,000 years ago, said some rabbis think Ham sodomized Noah, and some think he castrated Noah. Rashi thought Ham castrated Noah, preventing him from having a 4th son, so Noah cursed Ham's 4th son, Canaan. But we need to admit the text doesn't give us any of this information. It only says Ham saw his father naked and then went and told his 2 brothers. In any case, Shem and Japheth showed much more respect to their father than Ham did. Ham didn't even try to cover up his father, but his 2 brothers did. So there is quite a contrast between their response to their father's nakedness. Number 4, Canaan is cursed by Noah. A curse is a decree of disapproval resulting in negative consequences. Up to this point, the serpent and the ground have been cursed by God, and Cain was placed under a curse in chapter 4. But this curse is unique because it is not expressed by God. This is a curse expressed by a man, by Noah. Some have suggested that since this curse is not made by God, it can only be effective with divine approval. What is Canaan's curse? The text says he will be the lowest of slaves to his brothers. The word slave appears 3 times in reference to Canaan in Genesis 9:25-27. Lowest of slaves. Number 2, may Canaan be the slave of Shem. And number 3, may Canaan be the slave of Japheth. So 3 times in reference to Canaan, we have this word slave. Slave owners in American history and earlier times used this story as justification for slavery because they viewed the curse of Canaan or Ham as darker skin. Hence, they argued that Ham's descendants were Africans. But that is incorrect. The curse is focused on Ham's 4th son, Canaan, and Canaan's descendants were the Canaanites who lived in the Middle East, not Africa. Now, a big question here is this: why did Noah curse his grandson Canaan and not his son Ham? The text only mentions Ham. It doesn't say Canaan went into the tent and saw his grandfather naked. So why does Noah turn around and curse his grandson? This is a huge challenge in the story. Rabbi Eliezer in the 2nd century said Canaan was the first to see Noah naked, and he then went and told his father, Ham. So both Canaan and Ham had a role in the offense. But we are not given the answer in the text. We know a few hundred years later, God gave Canaan's land to the people of Israel who are descendants of Shem. The name Semite probably comes from the name Shem. So there's a lot of speculation with this story because it is so brief and not giving us all the details that we want. And we need to admit, this is speculation, and here's what we know for a fact. Finally, the last point here, Noah blesses the Lord, the God of Shem. Notice that while Noah curses Canaan, he also blesses or praises God. He doesn't praise Shem and Japheth. He praises the God of Shem. So the text says, "Praise be to the Lord, the God of Shem. May Canaan be the slave of Shem. May God extend Japheth's territory. May Japheth live in the tents of Shem, and may Canaan be the slave of Japheth." Noah was deeply devoted to the Lord. In the story in Genesis, from Genesis 6 to 9, here are some of the phrases that we have about Noah. He walked faithfully with God, 6:9. He did everything just as God commanded him, 6:22. After the flood, he built an altar to the Lord, 8:20. And now he praises the Lord. And the Lord is the God of Shem. The Lord gets the praise in the end. Since Noah also invokes God in his words to Japheth, he said, "May God extend Japheth's territory." Perhaps this implies that Ham/Canaan had another God. It's the God of Shem who is praised, not the God of Canaan or Ham. So that is a summary of Genesis 9, verses 18 to 29. I hope it was helpful. If so, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Thank you.